Welcome back, guys and girls, to another episode of the Outdoor Builders podcast. Bruno here with Empire Pavers, Daniel as well with Empire Pavers. Bruno, how's your week going so far?
Man, it's going so great. Finally, we can see the sun.
Yeah, right?
So it's good. How are you?
Good. We were actually, lights went out yesterday in the office, actually.
That's
so I don't know if this will be recording on time. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. So, back on topic, discussing outdoor projects, outdoor constructions. A lot of the times we get questions from customers or from other contractors saying, when do I need to pull a permit? Do I need to pull a permit? Do I need to pull a permit when we're installing pavers, when we're doing a retaining wall, fencing, pools? When do we pull a permit, Bruno?
This is good. This is such a good topic, and I love that we're going to be talking about this today. This is not only going to help us as a business, but our friends and people that have similar business, and also, most and foremost, the homeowners.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes down to permitting and getting engineering drawings and all that stuff to put a job through, what the homeowners need to understand is if the guy that you're hiring doesn't know how to do that stuff, that shows that they don't have a license. That shows that they don't know what they're doing, right? In order for you to pull a license, in order for you to pull a permit, you do need to provide who is the contractor and their contractor license that you're hiring in order for you to pull up a license, in order for you to pull up a permit for your construction, right?
And that is regardless if you are a GC and if you're a homeowner, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So first things first is once you call in, we went over the estimate process, went over all those steps that you need to do in order to close a job. The marketing, appointment, closing the deal, sending them the home improvement agreement. You get to a point where, okay, now we need permits, right? So first thing you have to do is make sure that the type of work you're doing, does that require a permit or not require a permit, right? For example, we're going to talk about Bay Area. We're going to talk about California in general. Some cities, they have their own requirements. So some cities will tell you can build, for example, a retaining wall up to 4 feet without needing any type of permitting, right?
And that would be 4 feet above ground level.
Exactly. No, 4 feet counting from the bottom of the footing, right? So if you have a 4 feet wall, that means the footing, it's underground. That's also counting. Well, but can the city know that I'm inside the 4 feet? Well, if they really want to pick on you, yes, they can just go there with the shovel and start digging around and say, yeah, you're more than 4 feet. You got to take the whole wall down, right?
Wow.
Now, some cities will tell you only up to 3 feet, counting from the bottom of the footing to the top of the wall, right? So you got to know what is it that the city that you're working in today, or in terms of requirement for a retaining wall, are they allowing you to do 3 or 4? Usually those are the max, in California that you're gonna get allowed to build, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, what if the wall is over 4 foot? Now we're talking about permits. We're talking about submitting a architectural drawing with the engineer calculation to the city and present to them what you're doing. But before you do all this, you need a land survey. You got to make sure whatever you're building, it is inside the homeowner's property. Sometimes, have clients where, this is all my land. All right, great. And then you build something inside someone else's property. It's on you. They're going to come after you first. Then they go to their homeowner. Like, why are you building something inside my property, right? Mm-hmm. So be aware of those scenarios. Like, really do your homework about searching what is the limit that I can build a retaining wall in this case that we're talking for in this city. Let's say Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek is 3 feet. Lafayette is 4 feet. It's like next to each other city, but they have one rule, the other one has another rule. And then again, counting from the bottom of the wall to the top of the wall, 4 feet. All right, that's one thing. What kind of license do you need? If you're a contractor, I have a friend of mine that has a license. He's gonna help me. He's gonna let me borrow his license. It's not that simple. Even though on paperwork and on like talk with someone, would you help me by borrow me your license so I can do a job?
Yeah.
That's how I lost my other license, before this business. I used to have another business and I trust someone with my license and I lost it. I lost my license just like that. I went back to that guy. I was like, bro, you messed up my whole life. Like, yeah, sorry, nothing I can do about it. Then he moved on. we're no longer friends just because the guy messed up, never wanted to go back and fix it, and then ended up being on me, right? So that's the other thing. Be careful. Not everyone's gonna be willing to let you borrow their license if you don't know what you're doing. So that's the first step you gotta do.
And a tip for homeowners, and I think we mentioned this previously, is when you get a quote from a contractor and it has a license number on it. In California, there's a California State License Board, a CSLB lookup that provides information on that license.
Yeah.
I've actually been with customers and said, hey, I got this quote. It's really cheap. And there's a random number on there that says a license. I said, let's look them up.
Yes.
There's been situations where...
thank you, Jesus, for everything.
There's situations where the number was fake. The number didn't add up. There was too many numbers. It started with the wrong number. It was the wrong digit.
Right.
It was totally fake. System didn't. Other times, the guy was using another company's license or his friend's license number.
Exactly.
So always be aware, in California specifically, do yourself a service.
Yeah.
Sometimes if they give you a license number, look it up in the CSLB. And then it also tell you, is their insurance up to date?
Yeah.
Do they have workers' comp?
Yeah. Sometimes the license could be even expired.
Yeah.
Like someone's using a license that is not even active anymore. And they're like, yeah, I found that this line is expired, but I'm going to use it just to get a job, right? Yeah. So if you go online, CSLB lookup, you can just put on Google search, put that license number, and then you click on the company, you're able to see everything. If that person's legit, if that company has the insurance, liability, workers' comp.
If all of that's up to date, all that's very important as a homeowner to make sure that your contractor's having is up to date.
Yeah, everything is there, right? So now the complications about a homeowner or someone that's working without a license. No, this is something that oftentimes people get into lawsuits without even knowing, right? So scenarios where I seen it, where a homeowner hired a company to do a job. The company never did the job because the company basically, it wasn't a company, right? It was just a guy using that company's number. The homeowner went to sue the company, and then basically they're like, well, we don't have a contract with you. Yes, you do. So-and-so signed a contract with me. Well, that guy doesn't work for us. You should have called us. You should have just, do your homework and just make sure that you're hiring the right company. He used us as a name just to get your job, but this guy doesn't work for us. He never did, and we don't even know who this is. So the homeowner ended up being a scenario where they were trying to sue a company that they hired, apparently the way they thought, but they never did the homework by making sure that guy that was selling that job, that was like working with them, it was someone that belongs to the company. So in this case, sorry homeowners, there's nothing you guys can do. You got to do your homework in terms of that. And also, if you hire someone that does not have a license and they work at your property, that person becomes your responsibility, your liability.
Because then the homeowner becomes the general contractor at that point, correct?
The homeowner is in charge of everyone that's inside their property. When you hire a legit company with a license, you're basically taking all the responsibility of whatever happens on my house to the company. And that's why you got to make sure they have workers' comp, liability insurance, and all that. First and foremost, what's going to happen is if someone dies, and I had a friend of mine that died. He died in a job site.
Oh wow!
About 8 years ago, and then the company insurance, went for the homeowners first. Why? Because the homeowners will refer back to, well, I hired the company. He died in my property, but this is the contract that I have with the company, so he's a company employee, and everything was solved. Why? Because the company was legit, they had everything, and then the homeowner got booked first, but then the homeowner's insurance pointed it back to, well, I have a contract with this guy, is this company, he works for him, so they got to figure this out. The moment that you hire someone that's not a legit company, they don't have the license, and they're working inside your home without all the paperwork that they need, guess what? You are in charge. You're on the hook for whatever happens. So there is cases where people got hurt and injured inside a homeowner's house. They go after the insurance. They go after their homeowner's insurance. And this is something that a lot of people don't know. Oh, it's just a retainer wall. Oh, it's just trimming a tree. It's just a small thing. But it just takes one mistake to cut someone's finger, someone's hand. Someone can lose a leg, right? So it's like don't try to use your lucky to prevent things like this from happening, because I seen it. It does happen, and unfortunately, if the homeowners don't have a legit company, they're on the hook for this.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Going back a little bit to the original topic at hand. I am a homeowner.
Uh-huh.
I hire a company and I don't know any better, right? I'm fresh in this. I hire a company and I say, hey brother, I need you to build me a wall 4 feet tall above ground. Whose responsibility is it to say you need a permit? Like, is the company supposed to tell me? Am I supposed to tell the company?
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is it to make sure that things are permitted at the work site?
That's why when you have the right contractor doing the job, he should know all that answer, right? So every time that is a type of work that requires a permit, the homeowner doesn't know this. That's why I went to school and I took my contractor license and I learned all this stuff. It is the general contractor, is the person that the client's hiring to inform them you need a permit for this type of work. Now, that is cases where the homeowner will say, you know what, I don't want to deal with permits. Can you just do it on the side? And this happens all over.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot this in the past. I don't do it anymore, where it's kind of like, you know what, you're the homeowner, whatever, I'll do it for you. But if anything happens, it's on the contract at this point, right? Because the homeowner can just go like, well, I'll hire this guy. He should know better. And yes, they should know better. So it's like some homeowners will require you to pull a permit, and then that's an extra charge. You do tell them, yeah, it's not my job to pull a permit. It's my job to build for you. Usually, a homeowner should find an architectural guy, and then the architectural guy will have an engineer person to do all the calculations. And usually, they'll get the permit for you, and then they'll hand you over the blueprint with, this is everything that you're doing. Here's all the step-by-step specifications of the wall, how we want it to be done, and all this. Even because once you have the permits, you have the blueprint of what you're doing, and you need to call for inspection, right? For example, using the retaining wall as an example, once the city inspector shows up to your job site, the first thing they're gonna ask is, where is your plans? You need to have a set of plans over there. You're gonna have your set of plans. They're not even looking at the permit. They're like looking at what is it that you're building and make sure that it is exactly what you submitted to the city. So a copy, whenever someone is pulling a permit, a copy of the blueprint stays with the city and the other copy stays with the homeowner. So the homeowner, in this case, the contractor, it could be us or the homeowner, whoever is at the job site the whole time. Whenever the inspector shows up, he'll like, let me take a look at the plan. So he'll compare whatever is on the plan with what's getting built. Let's say on the plan that shows a number 4 rebar and you do a number 3 rebar. Whatever you do it less than what it's asking, they're always going to tell you, take it out and do it again. Bro, I have done jobs where everything was done perfect. This is a job that we did in Chevron. It was a commercial job, 88 ramp, right? It's a wheelchair ramp. That's so frustrating. So I finished the whole job in Chevron. It's a commercial job. It's a wheelchair accessible ramp, and because of a quarter of an inch of a slope. So wheelchair ramps, 16% is the max you can go. I was 16.1. Like, it's very minimum of a thing. And we put the lasers back and forth. If I would have grinded the whole concrete, I could have grinded like 1 inch, and that would have done it. But the problem is now you have 2 different types of finish. You have a nice looking finish and then a grind spot. Like, that's a legit job. It's a commercial job, so I got to do it right. So I have to take down the whole ramp once again because of a quarter of an inch of a slope, right? So it was off very minimal, but the inspector showed up. Well, the plans, the maximum can go is 16, but I'm sorry, it's 16 and a quarter. You got to take it out. I'm like, for real, man? Can you just...
Wow.
No, there's nothing I can do. You got to follow this. So I'm here to confirm and make sure that everything that you building is exactly what you submitted to the city. Because once you submitted the plan set, the whole thing to the city, they'll look page by page. They'll look into all the details. And they have their own engineer inside the city saying, all right, this is legit. This is good. I'll stamp this by saying I authorize this to be built the way they're proposing to be built. So when the inspector is there, the inspector wants to make sure that everything that we propose to them is exactly what's being built. That's why they go straight to the plan. They don't care about anything. They don't care about if someone die on the job site. They don't care what's happening at the job site. If you call for inspection, they're going to show up and look exactly what you call them for.
Okay. Really fast. let's go down a checklist.
Okay.
I think this is gonna be good for
this is gonna help a lot of people.
contractors and the homeowners. Let's run down a checklist of potential projects and whether they require, generally speaking, right, permits or stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Retaining walls. When do they require permits?
Retaining walls in California today, some cities, anything over 3 feet, and some cities, anything over 4 feet, you do require a permit. With that permit, you need to submit a plan, drawings, and a engineer calculation side the plan, and see what the city will say.
Okay. Fencing, right? I know fencing it's a little touchy. It also depends on your lot. If you're a corner house or not corner house, if it's the front yard or backyard. But fencing, typically, what are we looking at? When do we need a permit? When do we not?
So some cities, again, up to 6 feet, you find anything above 6 feet, or some place anything above 7 feet, you need a permit. So permit, it's always needed, and every time, this might help a lot of people understand. Permits, it's always needed every time that you change original plans from what was built, right? Let's say your house got built and you want to do an addition, right? It's an extra room, you need permits. Let's say you did a driveway, and this is our industry right here. You want to extend it, the approach of the driveway, the little ramp that connects
to the street
to your driveway. I want to increase my driveway. I want to do a extra 4 foot, and I want to change the curb so that way the approach to my driveway, it's parallel to the edges. Yes, you need a permit for that, right? Anytime you touch city sidewalk, in this case, I want to do a new approach, or I want to fix the approach. I want to touch this up. When you touch the city products, you need to go to the city, and some city, they will require a traffic control. I'm only changed 2 pads of 2 slabs, like 40 square feet. Yes, we know. What the city tell you to do is go here, go to the city, submit the permit. You're just doing a regular permit. In this case, you don't need any type of drawings because the city already has everything. They know exactly what it is. What they want you to do is just sketch up on the paper. This is the slabs that I'm removing, and this is the traffic control for pedestrians. They're going to just go around. They want to see what you're planning. They want to make sure that you understand that you need that. So that's another thing. When you're touching seating, sidewalk, curb, approach, you need to have a pedestrian plan. Let's say you're running, I don't know, you're excavating a sewer line to the middle of the street. And now you need traffic control for cars and stuff. So it just keeps going on and on and on. But majority of the stuff that we do today, to answer your question, every time they change original to something new, you need a permit. Or what if we're just fixing a damaged driveway? Well, you don't need anything in terms of pulling a permit for the driveway, but some cities will require you to have an encroachment permit. Encroachment permit means you're working too close from the street, that they want to make sure that you do have a permit, and again, pedestrian detour plan, like how you're gonna, if people is coming to the sidewalk, what are you gonna do it, right? And yeah, I had people that they had a wheelchair and were blocking the sidewalk, and they sent us a lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to install pavers in my backyard. Do I need a permit for that?
No, you don't. You don't need a permit. Again, it goes back to the retaining wall. If you're doing a retaining wall, anything 3 and 4, that's the only scenario you'll see it. If you're doing the paves around that.
Okay.
So no permits for that.
Okay. What if I'm installing lights? I want to install some new lights. I want to run electrical into my new patio. Do I need permits for that?
That's good. Yes. So every time you run a 110 from your house to a new outdoor kitchen, for example, you do need to pull an electrician permit. So electrical permit, you go into the city, and again, simple sketch paperwork, not too complicated. I'm pulling electricity from this point of the house to the new barbecue island, and that's it. Okay. Right? Now you're running a whole new, let's say, designated you run a designated line all the way from your panel to the back of the house. That's a different type of permit, right? Electrician should know all this. Same thing goes for plumbing, gas and water. If you're running a water to outdoor kitchen, you need permits for that as well. So plumbing will incorporate water and gas in the same permit, and then electrical will incorporate any new line into the system and any outlets. Now, landscape lighting, No, you're fine. If it is
It's low voltage.
it's low voltage system, right? So a low voltage system, it can be applied by you as a homeowner, and even so. Put it like this: anything that that's related to low voltage wiring, could be speaker sound, low voltage lighting, all of those stuff. You don't need a permit because you can buy that stuff over the counter. That's why they sell at Home Depot. Go there, you buy it, and you connect it yourself. So you don't need a permit for that. However, anything that's 110 and over, yes, you do need a permit.
What if I'm building an outdoor kitchen? Do I need a permit for that?
So again, if you're bringing in things that's required by law, like electrician, if let's say if you're just doing an island, you're fine, right? Now, if you're doing an island with a sink, well, now you need water, so that means you need to put a permit for
You need to drain.
and also the drain, not just the water going in. I'll just put a bucket there, I seen everything in this life. Some people just do buckets.
Oh, God.
I'm not gonna really use this that much. Okay, whatever you want to do. But yeah, you do need you do need it, right? So it will depend on what you build in the back. But if you bring electricity, gas, or water, you do need permits.
What about a fire pit? Do I need a permit for that?
That's great. So fire pit building from natural gas, which is the gas they have at your house, you do need a permit if you're pulling the gas to that.
So you need a permit for the natural gas line, but not the actual fire pit itself.
Not the fire pit itself. You can do wooden burning, like just regular wood you put in there. Now, you can do propane. It's a new option. We do have a sister company, Flora Outdoor. You can go online and you can buy a fire pit through that. And our fire pits, they're both. They're natural gas or propane, whichever way you want to go. And basically, we just connected everything to you. We do have some of them out here where homeowners can come and take a look if they want to. But yes, propane, you're fine.
Easy. Okay. What about, we touched about this a little bit, a driveway. Hey, my concrete driveway is broken. I want to replace it with pavers.
Yeah.
Do I need a permit?
Yes.
Typically.
So some cities will say yes, some cities will say no, especially where we live. I typically don't pull any permits due to I'm just fixing. Now, if I'm changing the shape of the driveway, of course, I'll go there and submit it to the city. Around here in the Bay, you're probably looking at around $270, $300, not that much.
Easy.
Yeah, easy peasy. You go into the city, same day permit. Because you don't need a drawing, you don't need none of that stuff. You're just telling them what you're doing, basically, and sketch up on the paperwork. So when you're submitting the permit, they give you a paperwork where you draw what you're doing, and that's it. Very simple.
Easy.
Yeah. Back in the days, it used to be not even like, you don't even need that. You just go and pay. But now they're like asking, just to be sure, what is it that you're doing exactly?
Okay.
Right?
What if we're doing artificial turf? Very popular now.
Yeah.
Do I need a permit for that?
So artificial turf, a lot of homeowners don't know this, but depending on the county where you live, if you change your regular lawn to artificial lawn, today you can get a rebate.
Really?
You can get money back. Like, this is a good topic. And some of the companies, they don't even know this stuff, right? That's why we have all the information that the homeowner needs in order to close a deal with us. So if a homeowner today goes to their county website, they can go to their website and they can search rebates option for my county, right? And then you just type sod, changing my lawn.
Because you're saving water, right? It's a water saving issue,
so
right?
what is it now is you saving water, and the city, some cities, not all of them, some cities will give you up to $1 per square foot in rebate. So it's like they'll give you a write-off towards your property tax. So every year you got to pay property tax. You submit the form, you get a rebate from the county, and then and then you just upload that into your payment thing. So, and also it's linked to the city, so they will see it that you have a credit every time that you pay your property mortgage.
Taxes.
Yeah, your property taxes. Sorry, and let's say you have a 2,000 square feet. That's $2,000, man.
Every year.
Every year. I mean, the first
first
time,
year.
yeah, it's just 1 year.
Okay.
But you only get paid once. But every time that you change some type of sod lawn out of you saving water.
And that doesn't necessarily have to be artificial turf, right? It could be
anything
like river rock or pebbles or DG or something similar, right?
Something that you show that you're helping the city by saving water. That's what they're considered. And that is still in California. There is programs of the state that will finance even the project for you.
Wow.
Let's say some homeowners have a bunch of regular sod. the lawn. And once we show up, we measure everything. I say 3,000 square feet. We'll tell them, listen, you have 3,000 square feet. Let's say you do 800 square feet of a patio, and then all the other stuff you do regular mulch, cheap stuff, right? They're getting that money on their property tax as a rebate, right? So if the homeowner is helping the county and the city save water, they will get the rebate towards their property tax.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A popular one that's becoming more popular now, swimming pools.
Oh, yeah,
I want a swimming pool in my backyard. Do I need to pull a permit for this?
Yes, you do need to pull a permit. However, there is types of pools that does not require as a complicated type of permits.
Okay.
So we do it all. We do a granite pool, which is the regular concrete pool for those that don't know the term. The fiberglass pool, which is becoming very popular.
Very popular now.
And some other build-up pools, like the vinyl old school pools. Now they're becoming again popular once again.
Yeah. And maybe, if I may, for a little bit, that's a topic that we could go deeper into if people are interested, right? The benefits, the pros and cons of a concrete pool versus a fiberglass pool. Like what would be, right, the pros and cons of each one?
Yeah, so definitely we are going to really be more intentional in the next video that we do about this. But you do need a permit for pool. However, some pools today, it's not required to have an engineered plan. And the reason why is the manufacturer itself. This goes towards the fiberglass pool and the other type of pools where it's the build-up in place. In order for them to build this type of products, they need to submit it to the state and make sure the state approves them to do it. Now, each city has their own laws and their own rules, but if the state's allowing them to sell this product in the state, they being approved with the engineered system that they provide to the state.
And that typically costs approximately what, $15,000-$20,000 for those architecture plans for the pools?
If you do a regular one,
like a concrete pool?
Yeah, if you do a concrete pool, you're probably looking around $20,000 to $30,000, depending on the size of the pool. Like minimal, just a simple pool, it's still at least $10,000. Like engineering, it just costs too much, especially in California. But there is cheaper options out there where we can definitely advise our clients and advise other people that want to build pools, right? So you can do the fiberglass pool much faster. I done a job, and I know we're wrapping up here, but I done a job where the next door neighbor was building a concrete pool, a granite pool, for the past 6 months. We showed up within 2 weeks. Our client's job was done. So it's kind of like, what happened? Just because we had the flexibility on now having to submit to the city an engineer plan for the actual fiberglass pool. Why? Because already approved. You submit the architectural drawing, you tell them what you're doing, here's the whole thing, done. And majority of the manufacturers will use latent pools, right? Majority of them, they already will send you the whole plan. Here's the set. Pre-stamped by the state. Meaning, just put it down, drop it in, and done. Let's go.
So you're saving time and money.
Yep.
You get the pull them faster and cheaper.
Yeah. And then I want to do a whole episode about just the pool stuff. A lot of people has this, I would say, discrimination about concrete pool is way stronger than the fiberglass pool. You're wrong. You're super wrong. The flexibility on a fiberglass pool today is what it makes fiberglass being more attractive. And we can go over this in another topic about cracking on the pool, regular concrete pool, no cracking on the fiberglass pool. We have earthquakes every day. So there's a whole scenario where we can explain what's the problem and the cons about pool industry.
Each individual product, right?
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and wrap up. But again, a disclaimer a bit that we kind of talked about. What we're discussing are general topics regarding the permits. Please check your local, your county, your city, what they require. Each state, city, county is very different.
Yeah, it is.
So
different.
These are just general terms specifically here in the Bay Area, in California. So homeowners, contractors, next time you're looking at something and you don't know, please double check, see if permits are required.
Yes.
So that'll wrap up this episode of the Outdoor Builders Podcast. Bruno, thank you again.
Thank you,
Thank you for your time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please send us questions. Send us out, any questions or design questions, right? Not only technical questions, but also design aspects as well, which is what we specialize as well.
Exactly, yes.
So
we're here to answer all the questions. Let's go.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this week. Join us next week at the Outdoor Builders Podcast.
Let's go. Thank you.